There we go. Right. So I'll stick the links in. We've had Carol join us. So hi Carol, welcome. I will just stick the links in for all our socials, just so everyone has that, just to start with. So if you're not actually connected to us on LinkedIn or anything like that, please do. You should also have had a survey sent out. So thanks to those that did complete it. It's still ongoing at the moment. But interestingly, it did say that not everyone was a member of the Discord, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and there are only a few people that connected with us on LinkedIn. So again, if you get a chance, if you could connect, that would be fantastic. Right, so the link coffee table, I'll just stick the link in. Bear with me. So for those that haven't joined before, the link is in the chat. Hi, Henrique. Good to see you. The link is in the chat. So all you need to do is click on the link, and that will take you in to register for Lean Coffee Table. You don't need to register, you just put your name in. And then what you will be faced with is, I'll put it up on screen. You'll be faced with this screen. So all you need to do for this is click on Add New Topic, type it in. So new topic there, and that'll add it. And then once you've done that, what we'll do is we'll vote on the topic that is most popular, and then that will be our topic of discussion. So I'll just delete that one. So if you haven't already, if you could register for that, I will unscreen share now, and pop a topic in. So what we'll do, we'll give it 2-3 minutes for you to pop a topic in. Got some interesting ones in there so far. So we've got the old lovely tax one that's in there. So I'm sure we get loads of votes on that as usual, because everyone loves tax. Local top. Anyone going to the non-fungible token in Lisbon? Speculation on potential moon bags, which could be interesting. Regulation, always a good one, and crypto exit strategy. So any other topics you've got, if you could pop that in, and what we'll do at about 7:13, we'll pause there and then we'll start doing votes. So if you've got any topic you want to talk about, stick it in there. And I really do need to get some background music while people are thinking. So we've got Pragna. Are you able to get into the Lean Coffee Table app? So we've got Pragna and Nadia not in there yet, and Henrique. So if you click the link, yep.
Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt, but you mentioned, I'm Nadia, so you mentioned that I wasn't in there, but the digital regulation question is actually mine.
Oh, weird. Okay.
So,
That's not sure or not.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but yeah, okay. That was mine.
Okay. Oh, that's really weird. It says we've got 4 people in. And what I'll do, I'll pop the link in again just to make sure it's the right one that's coming up. But yeah, okay. If you have got a question and for any reason you can't get in, what I'll do, I'll reset the votes if you're having problems with the votes. But just stick, oh, you're in again now, Nadia, that's great. Just stick a question if you can't get in, stick it in the chat and I'll add that in there for you. Just give it 1 more minute to just stick your topics in. Okay. Yeah, I'll stick that in for you, Carol. Cool. So if we've got no more topics to go in, what we'll do, we'll stop it there. So those that haven't voted already, so I can see we've got Robert, you've still got 3 votes, Pragna 2 votes, Nadia 2 votes, and Henrik 1 vote. go into your lean coffee table and just click on vote for the topic you want to talk about. So Pragna, you've still got 2 votes left, and Robert, you've just used yours. Thank you. Brilliant. Right. So what we'll do then, I'll share screen now, just so you can see it. There we go. So I'll click start discussion. So the first one we've got with the majority of votes is the debate for and against digital regulation for emerging tech. So that looks like it's quite a meaty one. So I think, Nadia, you said you put that one in. Do you want to just introduce it and what's made you pop it in there as a question?
Yeah, sure. So hello, everyone. I'm Nadia. I'm a newcomer. I'm originally from the US, but I'm studying at the University of Edinburgh. I'm getting my postgraduate degree in entrepreneurship and innovation. And I'm currently in the dissertation portion of my program. So the reason I asked this question is because it is essentially the topic that I've chosen to focus on for my dissertation. And so knowing that I'm in a public forum filled with people from different backgrounds, different, knowledge on the topic of specifically blockchain technology, I'm curious to think, well, what are your opinions on the role of governments in being able to shape the infrastructure that is necessary for these kinds of technologies to be used and then also to be managed in an efficient manner? And so I'm personally focused on like how it applies to blockchain, NFTs, and also the metaverse. But of course, I'm also open to hear about how it can have impacts on other kinds of technology like Web3 and so on and so forth. And so, yeah.
Really good topic. I think we'll probably need more than 5 minutes for that topic.
So
So
I'm sure we will.
what I'll do, I will extend it a little bit because it'd be really good to hear other people's views on it actually. So I'll put that for 10 minutes and then we'll see how we get on with it. So does anyone want to chip in and just give their views on Nadia's question?
I mean, I can chime in as like a builder for the space. So I have like a love-hate relationship with crypto regulation. Like on one hand, it brings in more capital. On the other hand, it really slows us down. So in the last protocol I built, one of my least, well, I mean, I didn't actually dislike it, but we had like running joke. It's like the person I liked the least was our lawyer because he was just like the man of no. It's like everything, we would ask him, can we do this? Can we do that? And the answer is always no. And you've got to kind of like work your way up and, kind of just navigate that whole landscape. And dealing with regulations is really challenging when it's like the lawmakers are just so clueless and they're not really up to speed about the crypto space right now. But we do need some amount of regulations for the crypto industry to be taken seriously. And we're doing a lot better now versus a couple of years ago, because like even 10 years ago, like it was just the Wild West. 5 years ago, it was still crazy. Now we have big money coming in and people actually take crypto seriously. And that's because of regulations. Like there's still a few countries that outright ban crypto, but now at least there's a couple of countries that recognize it and are building out laws, and we do need it. I do like the Wild West. I think a lot of core crypto fanatics do like, having no regulations, everything DeFi, everything decentralization, no authority. But if we want to be taken seriously, we do need regulation. So yeah, love-hate relationship.
I totally agree with that. I think the other thing is that my experience of people I know when you talk about regulation is that they don't want regulation until they're scammed, and then they really want regulation. So it's quite interesting. But Chris, you came off mic a minute ago. Do you want to chip in with your view?
Yeah, sure. So generally, knee-jerk regulation is a bad thing. So these emerging tech is, by definition, it's emerging and it's pretty fast moving, and politicians generally don't have a pretty good grasp of emerging tech. So knee-jerk regulation never really works very well. I think in the original question, you were alluding to infrastructure standards and technical standards and architectural standards. I don't think it's that important for governments or regulators to get involved in defining the tech standards. I think it's actually very healthy to have lots of different standards vying for, like, basically having a Darwinian evolution of tech standards, as we saw with the early days of the World Wide Web. Where government should step in is either if there's a national threat. So we saw the government, for example, step in the regulation of 5G technologies and outlawing things like Huawei infrastructure in the 5G network. So if there's national security implication, yes, they should step in. If there's a consumer protection issue, then yes, also they should step in and regulate. We saw, I think it was on the 17th of May this month, where the Treasury Select Committee came out with their view that crypto should be regulated the same as gambling. So any sort of unbacked crypto, they basically said that it's got no intrinsic value and also no sensible value to society as a whole, which I thought was quite an amusing statement. I generally agree with it mostly as well. So what that showed me is it's kind of reaffirmed what I believe, which is that our sort of 2,000 years of legal system has built up some really good rules. And just because the tech's new, the stuff that people do with the tech isn't new at all. And there's a lot of existing laws in place, particularly in financial services, that cover pretty much everything that you could expect to do with this stuff. So I would say educate the lawmakers and the enforcement agencies on applying their existing laws to the new tech, rather than just coming out with some sort of knee-jerk regulation that's happening here.
Really, yeah, really valid point there, Chris. I think with the gambling, because I read the main headlines on that, but I didn't look at the detail with that. So when they were suggesting gambling, because gambling is tax-free, isn't it?
So I'm not sure it was so much about tax. I think it's more about how it was like there was the consumer protection and the addiction side of it, because
yeah,
I spend a lot of time speaking with folks who invest in crypto and they're very passionate about the crypto. But most of them, when they come down to being honest about why they're doing it, is usually about making a profit, making a quick buck. And it has a lot of analogies with putting some money on the horses or gambling on whatever, right? It's very few people are that interested or knowledgeable about the philosophies of the projects behind of it. And I think even in our wall here of topics to discuss, we're looking at which ones are going to go to the moon and all that kind of thing. Everybody's just wanting some hot tip of it's basically the same as a bunch of old folks with trilby hats behind a pub discussing which dog is going to do well in the races tomorrow. It seems it's pretty analogous to that kind of thing, if we're honest about it. So I don't think their Treasury Committee was making a statement on tax. I think they were just basically talking about we should regulate this and treat it as gambling, which has winners and losers and addiction problems and all sorts of victims and predators in that environment.
I love that analogy, Chris, as well. But yeah, you're right, and it's interesting if you speak to some people in crypto. I mean, my friend I was talking about earlier that came over, we were chatting earlier, and I think in the hour that I was sitting there chatting to him about a couple of other different things, he must have checked his phone about 6 or 7 times and changed the conversation back to crypto. So it's quite interesting that you, like you say, because it's not got the title of gambling, you can actually see a lot of the similarities that go along with it. So it is quite scary. And I mean, I've been guilty of it in the past as well. Literally check my portfolio about 10 times in a day. And yeah, the moon bags, interestingly, this exactly the same conversation I had with him this morning, where he was talking about all these projects he felt were going to 100x or whatever. And it's, yeah, and he does research them, but it's still scary that when you think about things like market cap and all the other things that go into what these tokens or coins are going to do, that goes out of the window, and it's kind of maybe I'll win with this one. So yeah,
really, and I think we said earlier that crypto has been taken more seriously because of the market cap and the sums involved.
Yeah.
but just because there's a lot of money involved does not necessarily earn itself the respect of the wider society. So yes, it should be taken seriously because lots of people are making and losing money through it. But in terms of, like the Treasury Committee said, has it got any actual practical social value going on here? And I'm still hunting. I've been in the crypto for a long time now. I'm still hunting for any kind of killer app in sort of Web3 space that can't be done in Web2. And I'm really still struggling to find anything. And I feel that therefore it does just seem like it's a bit of a pyramid scheme built up of lots of other pyramid schemes that's not really helping a lot of things. And yes, I know there's some interesting projects that are working on Web3 infrastructure and those kind of things. And I am quite fascinated in their uses. And yes, there are some sort of niche uses in that space. But again, the most of it is not, I see, like Treasury's Committee said, any real societal value. It is just people picking horses.
Yeah, I do think you have got a number of projects that have got value, but as you say, it's picking and choosing the ones where I suppose back a few bull runs ago it would have been called vaporware, where it was all the ICOs and stuff where everything was being promised and nothing was being delivered, but the market caps and the token values was skyrocketing. Has anyone else got any views on this? So Henrik, what's your thought?
Well, I'm just watching what's happening. That's no problem at all. Yeah, I'm just watching what's happening in America, and to be honest, they're making an absolute mess of it. They don't understand it. The regulators don't understand what's, they haven't even got a definition for what's a security or they keep changing their views. The Coinbase want to leave America. It's an absolute shit show, excuse my French, but so I think regulation is definitely needed, but it has to be done without stifling the innovation side of it. And unfortunately, I think they see the whole crypto space as just a big casino. And we're still kind of, as Chris was saying, we're still kind of waiting for that one thing, that one sort of super app that launches it into, that actually gives it a real world use case before it takes off. But I think NFTs have the potential to be that, or at least one of the things in terms of the sort of using it as a proof of ownership, a proof of identity, all those things that NFTs can be used for. But there's the regulation side. I think they're just, there's a lack of understanding from the regulators at the moment, and I think they've got a way to go before they get that right. I just hope they don't kill the innovation. That's my view on it.
Thank you for that. So those that haven't used Lean Coffee Table before, and welcome Ivan, who I think joined a moment ago. We now have the Roman voting. So all you need to do is, if you want to carry on talking about this for a few minutes, thumbs up. If you don't mind either way, thumbs to the side. And if you want to end the topic and move on to the next one, thumbs down. So if you get a moment, if you could vote. Okay, we need another vote. Okay, no other vote. What we'll do, we'll extend it for 2 minutes and hear from someone else, and then we'll move on to the next topic. So who else wants to chip in with their views?
I'll have a go, Simon, thanks.
Go on in, John.
Welcome along, Nadia. Interested to hear you're in Edinburgh. I'm just 20 minutes away from you, so hope you're enjoying sunny Scotland today. I agree pretty much with everything that's already been said. We do need a modicum of regulation, and until we do get that, I don't think we'll see the likes of the big players enter the crypto space, and institutional investors, and then their retail arm, if you were. So the big push on interest in a bigger spread globally. I think it's quite intriguing that Hong Kong have kind of done an about turn, and they are now starting any day now, 1st of June, I believe. And I think on the back of that, we're liable to see more positivity in relation to China. And I think that will probably force the US side of things to feel as though they're lagging behind, and they will need to up their game, so to speak, to not be left behind. So I think it's quite an interesting period, but I do think some regulation is needed, because it shows then that we're being taken seriously, and it's an area that's grown in stature. And I think with the changes, I think Asia will drive it, and then America will need to catch up, basically. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thanks for that, John. Yeah, I mean, just to finish on that topic, my view of it, and again, some of it does link to what Chris was saying about overregulation sometimes, and needing to be taken seriously. My experience from 25 odd years in financial services is that the regulators, having gone through various different regulations, most recent one being the mortgage market, but is they will swing too far one way and then they'll swing too far the other way, and you never tend to get that happy medium. So it's always too extreme, or they're not paying enough attention to it. And it just seems to be like a pendulum a lot of the time. And I think overregulation, that can definitely be a bad thing, because it does stifle innovation and so on. But underregulation, yeah, you've got the dangers of lack of credibility, and I suppose, yeah, risk to consumers and so on. Lovely. So thank you for that. We'll finish topic. Really good one. Let's just move that over. So the next one we've got is, have you planned your exit strategy? So we'll put 5 minutes on this. Again, this was my one, but this is something that I think I'm thinking about now rather than waiting until the future. So if you've got a crypto bag, probably the hardest thing to do is look at when you want to sell projects, when you want to buy projects, and actually having a strategy for if you do want to try and make some money out of it. And people are in it for different reasons. So I think from the survey that we sent out to the community, a lot of people are in it for the tech. Some people are in it to make money. Some people are in it to be involved in projects. So it was quite a wide range of views people had. But the biggest thing is, if you are in it and you've invested money in it, what you probably don't want is to see your investment go from maybe up there to right in the gutter. And that's obviously happened in previous bear markets. We've had a bull run then a bear market. So we have got some videos that go along with that. So myself and Paula did one probably about 18 months ago. And we've updated it with a crypto tracker, which is for take profits and when to ladder out of any investments you've got. So that's where we're at with it. But what are people's views? I'd just be interested to hear on if people have got an exit strategy if they are invested in cryptos, and what that exit strategy is. So does anyone want to share what their views are? No? Anyone?
I mean, I
Yeah,
can
I'll
talk.
go. Yeah. Oh, you go first, Robert. That's fine. Yeah.
So yeah, it all really depends on what your goal is. So, I was a professional trader. I trade mostly stocks and options, and the golden rule is to never enter without knowing when you're going to exit. And so if you're going to be doing short-term trading, which a lot of us do, then you need to find that exit strategy before you even enter. And so like I always look at the fundamentals and work out, you know, what is my investment thesis and what's going to invalidate that investment thesis. And then I'm just continually monitoring, and I don't pay too much attention to market cycles. So I've been in crypto since like 2013. So I've been through multiple bulls and bears, and like you can try and time it, but like most of the time you're going to be wrong. And if you can withstand the bear and just like hold on and go through multiple bull markets, that's where you're going to be making the huge profits. And I've kind of moved away from wanting to even exit, because now I focus on just like pure utility. Like I want to find those projects that are long-term holds and that I don't need to sell, and that I can stake and earn passive income. So I don't necessarily plan like for an exit. I'm just continuously monitoring, like, you know, are the fundamentals still sound? Has my thesis been validated? Like if there's a security risk or reason to believe that the project's taking the wrong direction, then I will exit. But otherwise, I just want to continue on staking and earning that yields, and just hold for multiple bull markets and not just focus on just like a single run, because that's not going to be where like the huge profits are made. Like you got to withstand multiple bull markets.
Thank you for that, Robert. Chris G, I think you came off mute as well.
Yeah, sure. So I guess I would just challenge that assumption that there will be forever this kind of bull and boom and bust, and the cycle just continues forever. It comes back to this kind of searching for practical use of this stuff. If you look at other disruptive tech, like, you know, mobile tech or cloud or generative AI, the use cases were all over the place and everyone was jumping over it. And, you know, and we're so, you know, 10 years into crypto and everybody's still trying to find a solution to a problem. I would say, you know, it's not about exiting this particular cycle, whatever. It's working out when's the music going to stop completely from all of this stuff. And that's kind of what I'm sort of keeping an eye on at the moment now. It's kind of the house of cards is when that's going to come tumbling down.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what does happen, because the other thing is, I suppose, that you look for patterns with it, and I think we've got the halving coming up. So I think traditionally, I think it's about 6 months after the halving, things start to take off a little bit. But then the flip side of that is that because we've had that happen a couple of times before, people are expecting that. So you kind of look at it and think, well, is this lulling people into a false sense of security, so they can have the rug pulled out from under them, so to speak? Or yeah, are we going to keep following those cycles? And you've got the law of diminishing returns as well. So each time things have started going up, you might have had less of a return on it if you look at things like Bitcoin as an example of that.
Well, we're getting quite, it's all the on-ramps and off-ramps from the traditional financial system into crypto are slowly closing down, particularly the on-ramps. It's harder and harder to find a bank that will let you upload real money into a crypto exchange anywhere these days. So I feel that, you know, the massive liquidity that's fueling all this from just the average Joe wanting to put in sort of $200 or $300 here and there, they're finding that those doors are closing, and that's part of this regulatory thing we're just talking about. So I don't think there is that, you know, there is that much cash to be just pumped willy-nilly into whatever meme coin is going these days.
I think I've definitely seen with a lot of the banks, they've not necessarily stopped it going in, they've just restricted amounts that can go in. So I think a couple of the banks I bank with have restricted the amount, something like £5,000 a month or something like that. So, but yeah, I think in America, that's obviously we've seen the collapse of a number of banks that were crypto friendly as well. We've got a comment from Ivan saying DCA is a good strategy with good liquidity pairs and good fundamentals. So that's a good point. John, sorry, we'll come to you as well, because you came off mute as well.
Yeah, just to say, I've been in this space a couple of years now, so I'm still somewhat of a novice, and I agree with what Ivan said about the DCA method. I'm kind of a long-term hodler, invested NFTs for longer plays, hopefully some mileage in that. And just again, yeah, sourcing the strong products, the good fundamentals, and making sure over the bear market I'm positioned well to make a positive period when we hit the next bull run. Yeah, but I agree with Chris and the fact that there's still a lot of smoke and mirrors, and it's trying to find, doing your research and trying to find the most appropriate ones to end in the next bull run. But it's very risky strategy if you're trying to make the big bucks in one cycle, that you need to be playing and be in the space for the longer term, I think, to make it a more positive experience.
Yeah. So just to cap that off, because we'll finish topic there. The point of the sheet and the link is the links to the 2 YouTube videos that go with it are in the link coffee table. It's more a case of, rather than trying to time the market, it's having a strategy where you gradually, when you hit certain points where a token or coin has gone up to a certain level that you've not done emotionally, so you've planned it in advance. So it's working out what points you want to take profit, so you're not going in there getting carried away with all the YouTube influencers and so on, and just letting it ride, and then all of a sudden it's down in the gutter again. The other thing, I thought it was just worth mentioning. Someone mentioned, I think it was Robert mentioned staking as well, and that's a really good point. So if you're looking for passive income, some of these tokens or coins will provide that. One of the things to, I suppose, be aware of with that is that if you're getting staking rewards in most countries, that will be classed as an income, which means it will be subject to income tax. Whereas you do get in a lot of countries as well a capital gains tax allowance as well. So again, if you're looking at tax efficiency and things, especially if you're a higher rate taxpayer or a taxpayer at all, working the balance out between what you're going to be taxed less on and what impact your staking rewards will have on your income is worth doing as well, especially if you've got things like the market dropping, because if you're getting staking rewards, you'll be taxed at the point you actually got them, but that investment might actually go down. So there's a lot of stuff to consider with that, but what we'll do, we'll finish that there. So really good discussion, guys, thank you. Move that over, and we had Carol's one next. We'll put 5 minutes for this. So Carol, did you want to come off mute and just introduce why you picked this one, if you're able to come off mute? Sorry.
I don't know much about it. That's all. I've just heard about it, and I just wondered if anyone knew whether they were a good or a bad thing.
Okay. So airdrops generally are tokens that you will get sent to you for being involved in certain projects. And it could be things like at the testing phase of it. It could be that there's a new project that's launching and they want feedback on it. It could be things like following certain conditions, and then what you get rewarded with is an airdrop of tokens that are sent directly to your wallet. Does anyone want to add something to that? Because that's a very basic explanation of it.
Yeah, I mean, so I've built protocols. So I've actually made 2 airdrops. So I've been more on the giving side of airdrop rather than receiving. So I do airdrops to promote marketing. So when I'm launching a new protocol, I allocate a portion of those tokens and I just treat it as a marketing expense and give them away for free. Usually, I'll have phases and have people run through tasks such as promote on Discord, or stake in a particular pool, or like do some sort of beneficial activity that builds the community. And if you do that activity, then we get your address and we get you get your whitelisted, and then we send out the token. So you get basically free money, and then it bootstraps the liquidity. So it kind of gives the token a price, because when you launch a project, the token has no liquidity, no price. And so when we give it away for free, then people have the token and they start putting it on dexes, they start trading it amongst each other. It generates hype, generates liquidity, and then it gets a token price. And that hype also results in marketing, followers, you get Twitter growth, Discord growth. So that's why we do it. We give out free monies in the hopes that we'll get future customers and future token buyers.
Okay. Oh, you're not finished, yeah?
No, sorry, Carol, I was just going to chip in with that some of the recent ones, you've had ones like Arbitrum, which did an airdrop for people that use their protocol. Uniswap back a few years back now, it was for providing liquidity for people to trade or the like, and they airdropped a number of tokens as well. There are quite a few that it's happened with in the past, and there's speculation on some as well. So things like MetaMask, I think, is the one doing the rounds on YouTube at the moment. And that's a similar sort of thing, follow certain conditions, use their portfolio app and stuff like that, and potentially you'll get an airdrop. And I think the thing is that there's no guarantee of it. And we saw that recently with, I think Sui didn't do an airdrop, even though the community were following certain tasks and the like that Robert was talking about. Does that answer your question, Carol?
Yeah. Yes, yeah, I do. I understand. Yeah. Thank you.
Great. I mean, if you are lucky enough to get an airdrop, as I said, there have been various ones in the past, but there's no guarantee that you'll get it. And the other thing I'd probably say to be aware is there are a lot of scams out there that relate to airdrops as well, trying to get you to connect your wallet to things or give away details that maybe you shouldn't be giving away. So I'd definitely say be careful. Just because you see airdrop, you'll find on Twitter there are a hell of a lot of links to dodgy sites. And what they'll do is they'll pick up on the latest hype around one, so MetaMask, for example, and they'll put a fake website for you to connect to and say the airdrop is happening, connect to this website and claim your tokens. And then next thing you know, your wallet's been cleared out.
What?
Yeah, so it's definitely, what I would say is do a lot of research before doing any of these things. If you're a member of the Telegram channel, drop any thoughts you've got in on there as well, and ask other people. But whatever you do, don't just see the word airdrop, connect your wallet, and hope you might get an airdrop, because you might get the complete opposite, unfortunately.
Okay then.
Cool.
Okay, yeah, I'm on the channel. I'm a member of the yeah. So I will write something in there. Thank you.
Good stuff. Yeah, but I mean, like I said, a lot of them do the rounds on Twitter where they're scams, and it will normally pick. I think when Arbitrum were doing the airdrop, there are a lot of fake links on there to dodgy websites that were malicious. So it's definitely worth checking, and yeah, share with the community. I think Paul has done a few videos on airdrops as well. So you look at the Block of Crypto YouTube channel, you'll see a couple of videos on there as well about it. Right.
Okay.
So we will finish that topic with 2 end topic votes. Now the interesting one. Speculate on potential moon bags. Now, I'm not suggesting we do this, and this did anyone on here put this one in here, or was it from, I think it might have been from last week's or 2 weeks ago Zoom actually. I suppose with this, we won't give it the full 5 minutes unless someone's got a burning desire to really talk through it. I think the big thing with talking about moon bags and potential moonshots, we touched on right at the start of the meeting, and I think Chris quite eloquently made the point about it, that there are quite a lot of projects out there that don't actually do anything or promise the world and actually don't deliver on it, and don't have a real use case. So I think what I wouldn't be keen to do is just chuck a load of projects out there that any of us think are going to move, because I think the background to it really is, if you are interested in something like this, firstly, you need to be in quite early, or find a project that really does have good fundamentals, do a lot of research on it. And even then, it might just be a case of luck, rather than anything else. But who has a view on this particular topic then that they'd like to share? Anyone?
Well, I think right now it's like meme season. Like Pepe did like huge moves. And then Cardano is having like a mini bull run right now. There's like 2 really big meme coins. So I put some money in Snack. I don't usually
That's Cardano, isn't it? That's on, yeah.
Yeah, I don't really do meme coins often. But sometimes I'll just jump onto the hype. It's mostly fun. So like with these hugely speculative stuff, you know, this is the game of hot potato, where there's like winners and losers, and you've got to understand that it's just it's a game of like who's gonna like keep on buying in and who you're going to sell to. Like eventually there's going to be a bust and everything comes crashing down, and like you're either going to sell out too early and then like be disappointed that you didn't sell at the top, and like you're already seeing that on Twitter right now, because like people bought in 2 weeks ago and then it's done like 80x. Like you could have, you know, done 80 times your initial investments, and people are like kicking themselves. But like eventually it's going to go to a point and then it's all going to come crashing down, and then you'll kick yourself because you didn't sell while it was high. So it's all just like a game. You got to treat it as fun, and so like you can make money, but it's pure gambling with these memes. It's better to do, you know, fundamental investing if you want to find like a good solid project that has potential. You can still speculate on the future because there's still, you know, a lot of unknowns. You don't know if a project is really going to take off, but you have a better chance because you can look, you know, is this going to attract real world users? Does it have real world utility? Does it have a longevity plan? Is it going to actually generate revenues that's sustainable? If you can answer those questions, then it's like a solid long-term investment, and it's not going to be like a boom and a bust. But the booms and busts are fun. Just, you know, if you go into them, just keep in mind that most people are going to lose money on that.
Yeah, really good point. Ivan, you've come off mute.
Hi, yeah, sorry, I just wanted to say I agree with what Robert was saying. Was that Robert talking? Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I also wanted to say that especially for illiquid projects, most of the pumps that you see are scam pumps, where basically there's one whale who holds like maybe 20, 30, 40% of the supply, would transfer their coin to an exchange, and then they would sell them on retail. And so that's what causes those wicks that you see on the chart. And it's really just manipulation. They basically just manipulate the market makers. It's almost like saying the house always wins. And it's really hard to predict when that pump is going to happen. Even if you look at accumulation sort of like patterns, it's still really, really hard. Personally, I wouldn't even venture in like scam projects or like illiquid shit coins or meme coins. The most money that I make off of them is just shorting them, but I wouldn't even dare like buying those coins for investment purposes.
Yeah, we've seen, I think with Pepe as well, the other interesting thing, and these are probably some of the guys that hold vast amounts, is the YouTube influencers as well. So you'll always find there's some YouTube influencer that's got a really
Totally,
big view on it. It's going to go to the moon, and then all of a sudden, once they mention it on their channel and it pumps, they offload the bags. So, no, really good point. Cool. So, unless anyone wants to extend that, we will finish that topic there. Yep, end topic, good stuff. And we might actually have time for the last two. So I'll put this one on, and we'll give this one 4 minutes. So have we seen a local top, and how do people see the market move over the summer? So again, I'm not sure if this was from last time or tonight, but did anyone pop this in? No? Okay. What are people's views? I mean, what are thoughts on what sort of summer we're going to see? Has anyone got any particular view that we're going to see up, down, left, right?
So my view of this is like bull markets start with memes and they end with memes. And so like with the rise of all these meme coins, it's an indication that people have spare money. So when the economy starts doing bad, people cut down on their discretionary spending, they cut out the Netflix, and like they really try and tighten up their budgets. And then that crashes crypto, because a lot of people are speculating with crypto to try and like earn money, but they're only putting in money that they like their discretionary spending. So those meme coins that pump during the bull markets, especially at the peak of the bull markets, they all come tumbling down because people lose that discretionary income. And now we're seeing that these meme coins they're taking off, and like what typically happens is people make profits in the meme coins, and then they cycle those profits into the DeFi protocols. And so you get this transfer of money from memes to like actual legitimate crypto projects. And so that's why I'm pretty bullish. I don't know when everything's going to kind of start pumping again, but the signs are pretty positive, because we see like the worst is over. Like people aren't struggling for money anymore. Like it's not all roses, like everyone's not like excited yet. So it's like nothing's pumping, but people aren't struggling like they were like a year ago, where like people were really struggling. The job market was dire. Now it's reasonably easy to get a job. Like companies are hiring. Like it's not super easy, but it's a lot better. So like we're at the beginning of the recovery, and because like the market is like a future indicator, it's going to be a while for the economy to kind of catch up. And so like we're seeing things kind of rally. So that's a good sign that we're in the recovery. So I'm pretty bullish overall.
Thank you for that, Robert. Chris, you came off mute a moment ago. Did you have a view?
Yes, I'm kind of interested in the impact of wide public access to generative AI and how that impacts the crypto market. So there's two parts to this. One is that there's very easy access to algorithmic trading strategies with generative AI. Previously, it was quite a tricky thing. I know some of the smart people in this group were well into writing scripts and things, all that kind of stuff. But when it gets to the point where there's, I'm looking at TikToks every day now with people who've showing you the scripts to put into generative AI and knock up a pretty highly functioning trading machine, when you've got lots of bots trading all over the place on one side, and then on the other side you've got generative AI generating crypto projects itself. So a lot of the tests we use to look in crypto projects, like has it got an active community, is there good tech documentation, is there good engagement, is there an active user base, is there like lots of influencers all over the place talking about. You can knock all these things up. You can make 100 YouTube influencers using whatever generative AI to back up projects. You start seeing lots of projects created by AI, lots of traders, AI traders all over the place. And I'm interested in how that would turn out when humans are kind of almost on the side and there's just lots of bots trading all over the place. And I'm sort of expecting a kind of paperclip maximizer scenario we'll see happening once or twice over summer, where it'll go completely off the rails. It will just completely reach escape velocity with AI making projects, investing in projects, exiting projects, and just going completely nuts over the whole thing.
Has anyone else got any final comments on that? Because that's AI has obviously been quite a big game changer for a lot of other industries, as well as having potential with crypto. Any final views on that? Oh, okay, we will move on. Really interesting on that one. So the final one is tax. Lovely. So I'll stick this on here. So this is from definitely from a previous one, because it's number 59. So we'll only give it 3 minutes. Tax myths. Do I pay tax if I swap crypto, or is it just when I cash out to bank account or get an airdrop? So the first thing with the airdrop is a taxable event. I think it will be the point it drops. And again, don't quote me on this for the UK, because it's on HMRC's website, but it will be the point you get the airdrop and what the value of it is when you get it airdropped to you. That is classed as an income rather than a capital gain, and you can be double taxed when you sell it if that's gone from where you received the airdrop and it's pumped and you sell it higher up. You'll be charged capital gains tax if you're outside your capital gains tax allowance on the amount it's gone up over and above what you airdropped it at. Probably made that sound more confusing than it actually is. And tax myths. So swapping crypto, again, I think most of the people on this call have some experience of it. But if you're swapping crypto to crypto generally, and I mean, obviously I'm talking from the UK, but generally, any crypto swap you do, if you've made a gain from the price you bought it at, will be classed as a taxable event. So that is even if you swap Ethereum to Sandbox token, Ethereum to USDT, Bitcoin to Ethereum, whatever swap you make, if you bought it at 1,000 and you sell it for 3,000, or trade it for 3,000, should I say, that in between where you've made that profit is classed as a taxable event. Now, the reason I thought that was probably worth pointing out is we've had some people on previous calls that have been under the impression that it's only when you actually cash it out into fiat cash that tax applies. So if you go, even if you're swapping it to USDT and keeping it on a crypto exchange, that's still classed as a taxable event. Doesn't matter if you take it out of the exchange or you put it into your bank account or whatever. So has anyone got any questions or views on this or experience of this that they would like to share?
I have one question.
Fire away, Nadia.
I don't know if the UK situation is different, but I know that in the US, crypto swaps are all taxable as well. But the crypto swap loss is not. However, even because it's not considered taxable income, but our IRS, the Internal Revenue Service, essentially requires us to report all crypto swap losses, but it allows us to write off some, or if not sometimes in special cases, all of those losses. Is that the case as well in the UK?
If, depending on the situation, if you make a loss, so you buy it at 1,000 and you sell it for 200, for example, then yeah, potentially you can class that as a capital loss of about, well, that'd be 800 pounds for us. So you can actually, if you work it right, you can trade your portfolio around and create a loss that you can then carry forward to the next tax year or potentially when there's a bull run. It's probably not something we can do in 2 minutes.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, the tax laws, I suppose what I'd say is if you're involved in crypto, especially if you buy and sell or receive airdrops or whatever, make sure you understand what the tax laws are, because what you don't want is being hit further down the line and owing a lot of money without realising you owe a lot of money. Chris, you've come off mute.
Yeah, just one final thing to add for me was that you should be aware that obviously Coinbase reported, I think it was last year, that HMRC and them had done a bit of a deal and they're reporting people are making, I think, over 5K was their limit. And I expect HMRC have pretty similar feelers into the other major exchanges. So don't think because it's on your, clever Web3 whatever wallet somewhere, it's not under the guise of the tax authorities as well, having a good look at that.
Really good point. If you have done any KYC as well, likelihood is they'll be able to track it. And don't forget, one of the benefits of blockchain is that, especially public blockchain, is that you can trace all transactions. So if you do report further down the line, if the IRS or HMRC or whoever are taking a look at your wallet address, they can see all the transactions going right the way back to the start. If anyone wants to use a tax tracking piece of software, there are loads of them out there. The one I use, and it's not an affiliate link or anything, but the one I use is Coinly, which I think is coinly.io. And you will have to pay if you want to produce reports for the Inland Revenue or IRS or whoever. But it does allow you to use it to track your wallets for free, and it will tell you any gains you've made or income you made. But you need a paid account if you actually want to pull off reports and stuff that you'd use to do your tax returns. But it's a really good way of seeing how much tax you are maybe liable to pay, or actually, if it goes the other way, how much you've actually got that you've made a loss on that you can report and then use to offset any gains you make in future years. Any final thoughts on tax before we finish and close the meeting? Okay, brilliant. Well, we actually managed to cover all of the subjects that we had, so fantastic going. So we will finish the meetup there. Bear with me a second. I'll just put you back on full screen. But yeah, it's been a really good meetup tonight, really interesting topics, and really, really interesting hearing everyone's views as well. So massive thank you from me. We are back next week, so we've got the Canada meetup, which is 1 AM Tuesday morning UK time, because obviously Canada's, I think, between 5 and 7 hours time difference. And then we have the Island group back again Thursday next week at 8 PM. And we'll be back in 2 weeks' time. So thanks very much, guys. Really good meetup, and I will see you all soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Cheers, June. Thanks, Ivan. Thank you, Nadia.
Bye.
Thank you.
Chris. Thanks. Cheers, Pragna. Thanks, Henrik.